Coming up in the Movie Film Show today, we've got a trailer for a brand new Amazon Prime movie starring Adam Driver, which certainly looks interesting. On top of that, Bruce Willis has a new movie, there's Sing 2, there's some horror movies, there's The Suicide Squad, and a very interesting Netflix movie. But before we get into all of that, we've got to talk about LOKi Episode 3. So Episode 3 of LOKi hit this week, and it's heating up. It's still a little bit slow, we're still doing a little bit of establishing, but it's intriguing nonetheless. There's female LOKi who was Sylvia, she was female LOKi, and that was certainly interesting. They established that she was a LOKi and then changed, so it'll be interesting to see how that came along. It sets up an interesting dynamic that LOKi now has someone on his level who does the same thing as him, and also they have a big cliffhanger at the end of what the hell happened. Interestingly enough, with this show, there hasn't been any post-credit sequences as far as I'm aware. I've gone through the credits, tried to find them, and they haven't been there, which for a Marvel show is a little bit strange. There was some very interesting revelations this week that the time variance agents, like Owen Wilson and all that, they're just normal people who think they were born in the time variant agency, I guess. But they were normal people, they do have lives on Earth. In some sense, you could consider them prisoners, because they don't know that they're being kept there and they had lives back on Earth. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But overall, I don't think the episode had too many standout moments. It had some interesting CGI. I don't know if it was just settings on my TV, but some of the CGI on the planet, on the purple planet, didn't look spectacular. You know, you could very much tell it was CGI, but some of the other stuff was fine. In the other cities, I mean, it looked okay. Just that purple planet, maybe it's just because it was just a weird look to your eye. Your eye goes, there's something wrong there. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I haven't been blown away yet, if I'm honest, but I fully expect LOKi to kick into a new gear in episode 4. Although I feel like I've been saying that every week. Let me know your thoughts on LOKi episode 3 in the comment section below. But with that being said, and that being done, it's time to jump into this week's movie news and trailers. So in terms of movie news, it wasn't the biggest week. There was some casting stuff and all that. I didn't really go into it. But the big news obviously was that Harrison Ford got injured training for Indiana Jones 4 or 5, Indiana Jones 5. More than likely, production's gonna be held up for a short amount of time, hopefully not too long. I'm still very excited for Indiana Jones 5, Indiana Jones in the retirement home, I believe. But hopefully he'll recover quickly and they can get back to making the movie. And it'll be better than Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, although that's not saying too much. But of course, Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford himself are iconic. And speaking of an iconic actor, Bruce Willis. Seamless transition. Bruce Willis has a new movie, and it looks like this.
Hey! Hey!
Billy,
We have an unintended.
clean up your goddamn mess. Don't you make me have to come out there.
Please, I'm begging you. Please, please, please. You don't have to do this. I promise.
What are you waiting for, Billy?
Help me, please.
Don't move! On your knees. Now! I'm a cop.
Out of Debt is the new Bruce Willis movie. And from the trailer, I gotta say, the movie looks crap. Like, visually, it looks terrible. It's all washed out and everything. And then, the story doesn't look spectacular. And on top of that, just take a look at this little bit from the trailer for his line delivery.
Shannon, you can trust me. What we need is evidence. There's no quitting now. You understand?
Okay.
You can really tell Bruce Willis just doesn't give a shit anymore. I don't know if he needs the money or he just doesn't know what to do with his spare time, but it's very clear that Bruce Willis just doesn't care anymore. You can tell from his line delivery and the effort he's putting into the roles. It's a shame to see Bruce Willis taking on these lower quality movies, because for a man who was once one of the biggest action stars in the world, it's just a shame to see his career go down this path, because we know he can do better. But an interesting looking trailer, which I saw this week, which I do think gives away a lot in the full trailer, which we'll be linked in the description below, as with all trailers on the show. A movie called Annette from Amazon Prime, starring Adam Driver. Looks like this.
First time I fell in love. Woke up next to the girl and escaped fast and far. But Anne has changed me. What I see in her is obvious. What she sees in me is... it's a little more puzzling.
So Annette certainly looks interesting. It's got a unique style. I'd highly recommend checking out the full trailer. It's very interesting, but it does look like they give away a lot in the trailer. The movie hits theaters on August 6th and Amazon Prime on August 20th. So not too long to wait for that movie. Adam Driver has been in some really good things, Star Wars aside, because you know, he ended up being like the worst Sith. I still haven't watched the last Star Wars movie. I've even forgot the name of it. Star Wars and the one after Rian Johnson fucked up Star Wars. But switching gears to something a little scarier, because Halloween is not too far away. And if you didn't know, Halloween kills.
No, no, oh, no, 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 let it burn!
You copy! I can't see you! Take my hand now! Get in there! Grab my hand!
Oh, Michael Myers, not Austin Powers, the killer. He's back again for like the 500th time. Halloween Kills. I'm not sure how I feel with this one. I wasn't really a big fan of the franchise in the first place. I'd love to know opinions of people in the franchise who love the franchise. Are you hyped for this one? And is it time to let the franchise die a little bit? Because, you know, there's only so many times the character can come back and keep being a badass and keep killing everybody and keep getting killed at the end of the movie and then coming back in the next movie. You know, kind of wears thin after a while. But it's another movie to check out at Halloween because it does come out in and around Halloween. But sticking with some horror movies, check out this trailer.
Right here in this neighborhood, the legend started. And the legend is, if we say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror, we could summon him.
Summon the Candyman.
Hell no.
Candyman.
Anthony, no.
Candyman.
Stop!
I don't want to get creeped out in my new apartment before...
Say his name.
Candyman, a movie, the original movie I was terrified as a kid. And even as a kid, even though not watching the movie, I still knew the whole Candyman thing about saying his name between 3 to 5 times. It varies based on who's telling you the story. Especially as a kid, I was terrified at the idea that standing in front of a mirror and saying someone's name a certain amount of times would bring forward a killer, all because you said some words. It's a stupid idea on the face of it, but Jordan Peele, who's written this one, it looks like he's written a very kick-ass horror movie. It's a movie that clearly has a lot of gore in it. It's going to be violent by the looks of it. Directed by Nia DaCosta, written by Jordan Peele, who now has an established base in horror movies. They bring us Candyman, and it looks like it's going to be one of the most interesting horror movies to come out in a long, long time. I certainly want to know your opinions on the Candyman trailer in the comments below, and don't forget you can check out the full trailer in the description of this video. But after 2 horror trailers in a row, we need to lighten the mood a little bit. So here's a trailer for Sing 2.
Guys, we're on, right now.
Now?
Stop. I need big shows, big ideas.
Hey, I have a big one with Clay Calloway.
Whoa. You know Calloway?
Clay Calloway is a recluse. No one's seen him for 15 years.
I'll give you 3 weeks to get this show up and running.
I won't let you down, sir.
Better not, or I'll throw you off the roof.
Another movie from Illumination, who've made the likes of the Minions and a lot of other stuff, Secret Life of Pets and all that. Following up on success of the original movie, Sing, comes Sing 2. Natural progression, makes a lot of sense. A lot of well-known songs and music in there. It must cost the studio a fortune to license all these songs, but kids are going to love this movie. A lot of singing, a lot of bright colored animals. What's not to like? Switching gears to a movie that kids might not like. Maybe they will, depends on their aptitude for violence. The Harder They Fall got a trailer this week, and it looks like this.
Open it.
We're gonna play for you our first tune. It's called Let's Start What We Have Come Into the Room to Do. Right on. Here goes. 1, 2, 3.
Before I watched this trailer this week, I hadn't heard about this movie. didn't know anything about it. But if you told me this movie had Regina King, Idris Elba, LOKi Stanfield, I'm already hooked. My one reservation, as I've said on a lot of movie reviews lately about Netflix movies, is that Netflix movies don't tend to stand up. They've been making a lot of poor movies lately. Some good, no great movies. But this movie looks like it has the potential to be spectacular, and it's a Netflix movie, so maybe they're finally gonna have a great Netflix movie. I'm not holding my breath too hard, but it certainly looks interesting, and I'd highly recommend checking out the full trailer in the description below. So we've had a lot of trailers, we've talked a little bit about LOKi, and that's gonna be the end of the show, but not before we've got one more trailer in the bag, as we've been doing a lot lately, and it's a movie starring Idris Elba. But before we jump into that movie, and that movie trailer, I need you guys to do me one or two little favors, and that's if you enjoyed today's movie film show, share it on your social media with everyone you know just to help us grow. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. Maybe even hit that notification bell so you never miss a movie film show every single Monday. Plus we've got videos on Wednesdays, Fridays, trying to keep 3D videos going every week at bare minimum. I'm trying my damnedest to grow this little movie channel and see where it takes me. I've enjoyed it a hell of a lot so far, and hopefully we can continue to grow and maybe, possibly, one day, even hit 500 subscribers. It's a huge goal. It seems a mile away, but maybe someday. But now, to end the show this week, we've got another little snippet of the Suicide Squad.
Your mission is to destroy every trace of something known only as Project Starfish. Any questions?
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
No.
No.